talk about treats today. So what I want to talk to you about is that all treats are not created equal. Your dog gets to pick the hierarchy or what they really like. So we're going to talk about all the different treats that are out there. We're going to talk about how to deliver them, when to deliver them, how to not have your dog be reliant on treats, but why they're super important to use. I feel like a lot of people don't want to use treats with their dogs, and I think that's really an in-service or does a disservice to your dog. They really need to have a way to be paid. So treats should be really easy to deliver. They should be small. They should be something your dog really likes. And they should also be something that isn't going to make your dogs have an upset tummy or them getting a little overweight. So one of the first things I like to do when it comes to using treats, if I know that I'm getting a lot of treats, I'm going to cut back my dog's food a little bit. That way there's a good balance and they're not getting super overweight, not getting upset tummy, anything like that. Now when it comes to what we're working on, that will determine what type of treats I'm using. There can be anything from low value treats such as their dog food or some like low value kind of like crackery or like for example a milk bone or something like that. Dogs like these, but they're not as good as a high value treat that's going to smell really good, be easy to eat, something like that. So if I'm working in the house and it's just not a whole lot of distractions, I use a lower value treat. If I'm working outside or working with something really high value, like a distraction or other people or other dogs, I'm going to use a high value treat as much as possible. And so another thing that you want to worry about with treats is how you deliver them. They need to be easy for you to deliver. A lot of people have like a bait bag or something where they keep treats on them. You can use your pockets, but it needs to be quick and easy for you to give your dog as well, and hopefully not super messy. So let's talk about size. When you have like a milk bone like this, I could give this as a treat, but my dog's going to sit there and chew on it, and they're going to be working on this treat for a very long time. Versus if I give a small M&M size treat, they will want to eat this and then come back for more, basically. I really like using small, easy to deliver, quick treats. You really want something that your dog's going to like and it's going to be easy to give. So these, I usually call these I love you treats, meaning your dog gets it, you still are happy, they still get something, but I love you. I didn't make you do a whole lot for this, which is okay. So here in a minute, I'm going to show you all the different types of treats there are. Well, not all the different types, but just different categories of treats that might work really well. And I'll kind of give you examples. Some treats you can break into smaller pieces. You also have to worry about dietary restrictions, which we'll talk about in here in a minute. So here are an example of all the treats. These are just some fun examples of different treats. I am not super a big proponent of certain brands or certain anything. I go mostly by what my dogs like and what's also easy to deliver. Some of the low value treats that you can give is just kibble. This is just plain dog food. As you can see, it's really little. It's easy to deliver. This is just dog food, but it's canned. This can be a really great treat if your dog's not used to canned food or they don't get it very often. And you can put that in topples or Kongs, or you can stick it in like a little squeeze pouch and give that to your dog. Then we have your traditional milk bones. This is like a medium size. Those will work really good. Like dogs like them, but there's not the greatest training treat. Cheerios, these are another one of my favorite that I like to use. Cheerios are great. They come in a huge bag or a huge box. They're inexpensive. Dogs like them, but they may not be considered really high value. This is just an example of a really crunchy, thick treat. Dogs like these, but they're more for a snack than they really are for training. These are called Crunchios. Again, it's another kind of snacky treat. They're really crunchy, but dogs do like these because they're really tasty, and I like them because you can break them up. That's really what I look for in treats, is how easy can I break them and how easy can I give when I give them. This is another brand. A lot of dog treats come like this. They're just round. There's a ton of different brands for that. One of our old go-tos is Pepperonis. Pepperonis come in a large stick, usually bigger than this, but I will break it down into tiny little chips or tiny little places like this so that it's easy to deliver. Then we start getting into some high value stuff. This is roasted beef lung tips. So that's all it is beef lung. Dogs love it. The only downfall I will say is sometimes it's hard to break up. So for little dogs, this is a very large piece, but for a bigger dog, it's not too bad. Then we've got freeze-dried food. Freeze-dried food is really great. You can break these up too sometimes. You just got to kind of have two hands. You can use those. I will say when you start using dehydrated or roasted or any kind of freeze-dried, you want to make sure that your dog has plenty of water because it can make their mouth kind of frothy. Then we've got your good old household items. We've got some some cheese in a can that you could put on a spoon. We've got good old string cheese, which you can tear pieces off of it. Peanut butter, and then we've got anything from like chicken to hot dogs, to lunch meat, all those kind of different things. As long as it's healthy without a lot of salt, without any seasoning or grease, most dogs can handle it pretty well. So this is just a great example of all the different little treats you can go have, and then what sizes you would probably want them for your dog. Okay, now that we have gone over all the different treats that there are, or different types of treats that can be given, let's talk about now how we're going to give them. Like I said, it's good to have like a bait bag on. It's good to be able to quickly deliver it to your dog. I usually only wear a bait bag or a treat bag whenever I am out and about. I don't typically wear one at the house. So those, I like to have treats like actually in a treat bag or somewhere where I can have quick access to them. What's really important is when we use treats, we're using it to teach our dogs, and we want to pay out a lot. But I also don't want the dog to look and be like, do you have a treat? Okay, now I'll do it. I want them to do it because they know they're getting a treat, but not because you're bribing them with the treat. So what that means is I try not to touch my treats until the dog does what I want, and then I give it to them. So what that looks like in the house is if you are going to ask your dog to sit politely at the door, you grab the dog treats and then you ask him to sit politely. Your dog's really doing it because they see you grab those dog treats. But if you ask your dog to sit politely, then you grab those dog treats, your dog's going to get the clue that they do this to get this, which is really how we want it to be done. We don't want our hands in our pockets. We don't want our hands in that bait bag. And I'm bad at that. I'm really bad at that myself. So you have to be really conscious of that. The other thing is once your dog really knows it, you start doing what's called a random rate of reinforcement, meaning that you sometimes give treats, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you mix it up with like some play or some attention or something like that. But you really want to mix it up a little bit. You have to remember that the same thing over and over for your dog can get really boring. I love steak, but if I had steak every night, it might take a while. But if I had steak every night, I'm going to get to the point where I really don't want steak at all either. So you got to mix it up. Sometimes we have steak, sometimes we have chicken, sometimes we have whatever. That's how you want to do it with your dogs. If you're giving the same treats all the time, it's not going to be really fun anymore. So you got to mix it up. You got to mix it up as well. If your dog has dietary restrictions, you do have to get a little creative. A lot of times you can take their dog food and you can put this in like a little pouch or a syringe and give it to them that way. This is just canned dog food. You can find something that they're allowed to have and give them just straight protein, whether it's boiled chicken or turkey or whatever you can do. You have to get creative, but you definitely can find ways around it. And you can talk to your veterinarian as well for other little ways that can do that. I hope this gave you some good information on what you can use for treats and what works best for your dog. If you ever have any questions, just let us know. Thank you.